to another Friday, or should we say Thursday, but Friday right here for Black Power Media. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Y'all are tuned into the Remix Morning Show. Let me introduce you to your host for the day. We got Burn It Down, Kim Brown. We got Kamal K. Franklin and Dr. Jared Ball.
I got the
conversation offline about this.
Thank you.
Yeah, you both were having a conversation offline.
Yeah,
I was just asking face because I didn't get my reverb and it's overused now.
Nah, it's
no
my
reverb
turn.
for you.
It was my turn. Thank you, Ear Doctor. Appreciate you. And welcome,
you withhold the
Kepper
reverb from the ungratefuls, Ear Doctor. The ungrateful do not deserve the reverb.
That's right.
The reverb over here. I appreciate the reverb.
Yes, indeed. Good morning. Greetings, everyone. Definitely reach out. Ear Doctor, hit him with the tell a friend. It's on again. Tell him to jump on in.
Let's get it.
Get this good boom bap breakfast.
True.
What's going on?
How's everybody doing?
Good. Kim and I, man. Kim had me. We got stories to catch up to. We had me digging through the pages of the stories I've been missing. I can't wait to get into some of this next segment. This gonna be an exciting, powerful morning.
Powerful.
Damn.
Powerful.
Is this the anti-St. Patty's Day program?
God, it was St. Patty's Day.
Damn.
I know. Listen, we don't need. Listen, the only way I ever knew it was St. Patrick's Day is when the errant white classmate would come up and pinch you. Bitch, are you crazy? Like, why are you pinching me? You're not wearing green. Bitch, I'm not Irish. I don't care about the stupid holiday. This is some made up shit. Probably not made up, but I don't know much about St. Patrick. Do y'all?
No,
I just knew it was when white folks got drunk. I mean, they, like just drunk a lot in New York, like, all over bars. Everybody got on green, throwing up outside, all that. I remember all that.
So it's basically just a party then.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, if there was once some sort of significance, I think the old Irish white establishment still like to do their parades and all that kind of shit. But for the kids, it's all about, can we go get our drink on and throw some green on and have some fun and shit like that. So
that's what it's like for the old establishment whites too. What do you think they've been doing on St. Patrick's Day?
Well, at least they throw their parade first, or it's like Columbus Day for like the Italians. Like, they throw their parade first, but then they go get drunk, I guess, whatever.
Forget about it. All right, I'll catch you on the break.
Appreciate you.
Do we have a good drunk day that black folks get drunk? We don't do that on Kwanzaa.
Payday, nigga? I don't know.
You said every day.
The 1st and the 15th.
1st and the 15th.
Yeah, that's a good question. Whatever Spades night was always, but I don't know about it like a
It's like a national gathering holiday for us that we do that. All the holidays are still too revered, the official ones.
On Turkey Day, Black people gather and drink and
it's not like on Dr. King Day, folks don't gather around and get their drink. You know what I mean? You don't do that. Yeah.
We need a day officially. Like that. Whose holiday? Like, who can we designate? Like, hey, let's make this, since white people apparently have co-opted Juneteenth, and now white people get the day off on a federal holiday for Juneteenth. Thinking of payday.
It's a good get drunk day. That's just like, fuck it. It's a black day. We're gonna get drunk. Like, is there a Richard Pryor holiday or some shit? That'd be a drug day, though.
Oh, that's messed up. That's messed up.
That might be a poor 151.
That's messed up.
Let's see.
I just watched the video. Speaking of Richard Pryor, I did not know much about his relationship with Pam Grier. I just watched a little video about that. And yeah, he should have stayed with her. It sounds like she was trying to get his life right and helping him and supporting him and with his career, his drug abuse, and where
do you go from Pam Grier except for downward?
Exactly.
I just don't understand. I don't understand.
You're kind of repeating Miles Davis and Cicely Tyson, yeah? Like, they were together and married.
Mm.
And he was, let's say, less than supportive of Tiffany and of their union. So there's a lot of stories, Gerard, of men, talented or otherwise, who probably should have stuck with the chick that was sticking by their side and trying to help them out. But
lots. I'm sure there's lots.
Millions.
Especially what Pam has meant to me as just from a childhood. It's hard to imagine, to Kamal's point, like it's definitely a descent from the mountaintop. Like it's like, what are you? It's just, but yeah, it was interesting, and I also had not known much about her relationship with Kareem when he was Lou Alcindor, and who apparently, if this video is correct, I cannot co-sign this.
But Grier had with Lou Alcindor,
and he said to her, they had a very strong relationship apparently, and then when he converted to Islam, he gave her an ultimatum and said, if you do not convert to Islam by 2 p.m. today, I'm marrying somebody else. And he literally married another woman at 2 p.m. that day when Pam said no.
That's crazy.
And I again have to I have to reassess my views of Kareem, because I'm like,
well, he was with a white girl for a while. Like,
oh, I didn't know that actually.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Don't make me bring up the videotape. Don't make me bring up the videotape.
Hey, Kamal, that's what you do here, bro. Don't you out people with white partners?
Yeah,
you put them on the Summer Jam screen, Kamal, single-handedly. Hey, man. Hey, I can't even imagine to portend to know what happens in the minds of men sometimes, because
right on. A woman to that, and now Pam apparently is chilling more or less in her Colorado spread and walks in the woods, and which helped her get over her cancer and all kinds of stuff. So
this a documentary about Pam?
It was just one of these YouTube. As people make these YouTube videos, it's like they're I guess they're mini documentaries or whatever, and some of them are pretty well done and interesting, and this was one of them. And and Pam is just, she's in my algorithm, so she shows up in my algorithm for sure. So
she might have been the first lady titties I think I've ever saw.
Oh wow.
I mean, you turn like on the screen kind of screen titties. It's true, on the screen.
Good morning, everybody.
I was gonna say, like, I'm never ready for the remix. Never ready.
1970, like, coffee or one of them, you know what I mean? It was like, the shirt was gone. Come on, it was like a seminal growing up moment, B.
I mean, for sure. I just wasn't ready for it to be discussed at.
Oh, my bad. I mean, you can't act like you can't act like you're going to bring Pam Grier up and not talk about the sexiness and the screen titties. I mean, I think I did pretty well. I think I did, though. I had us off on the right track. We had made it thus far.
Yo, Brooklyn Kamal has no chill, kids. None.
I'm just saying.
8-12. Get with it. Let's go. Screen titties. Let's go.
I'm just saying.
That's the headline clip right there. And good morning. Welcome to the remix. Everybody tell a friend to jump on in for this boob bap breakfast. Should I say at this point? No, thank you very much, Kamal. But anyway, shout out to Pam Grier. And I will say the worst part of the video is that for me was that Quentin Tarantino is given all this credit for a relative resurgence in her career. And I just no, just like Eminem can never be a best rapper, Quentin can't never get certain levels of credit for me when it comes to film, and his ever seeking an excuse to call somebody the N-word to get his ends out. He's always looking to get his ends in. It's just a script. It's just a movie script. All right, well, where's the scene where I get to punch you in your mouth?
Because that scene has played out. That scene has played out in real life, has it not, Gerard?
It's just a script. You know what I'm saying?
Just out of curiosity, can I ask you guys, Kamau and Gerard, and sure, chat, chime in if y'all have some input on this. Because I'm asking for a number here because I'm operating off the assumption that it is more than 0. So how many white people have you punched in the face for calling you the N-word?
Oh no. I didn't grow up around white folks. I didn't have a relationship with white people until college.
And nobody called you a nigger at SUNY? At CUNY?
No.
Really?
Okay. In fact, CUNY
that's very interesting. So I have to say, I don't think I have any that are directly related to that. I'm trying to think. I might. So there's one in 10th grade. There was this one big white boy that I didn't respond to. Like I walked away from it. And to this day,
Jared is hoping to catch that nigga in Wegmans. I remember.
It is one of those things. It's one of those emotional scars. Like I remember it vividly, and I think I would recognize him if I saw him today. And so like there is that, but I will say this: there's only been 2 white boys that I've physically engaged. And none was specifically over that. And I will say this: both of them had to make hospital visits. I will say that I am 2-0 for white boys have to visit the hospital when we get down. So, but I don't. So I don't know. And then there's another one that I have emotionally scarred. Speaking of the story from yesterday, where in 1989. I was at a Pink Floyd concert at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. and on heavy amounts of LSD, and was walking back to the car, I think. And I remember these white boys walked by and pointed and said, "Look at that nigger over there." And I let that go too. And I remember vividly that I did that because I felt like the white boys I was with were not going to have my back. And I was too, I can't even imagine fighting on LSD, especially in that amount that I was on. And to this day, I just have that emotional mental scar. And I just, so I feel like the white boys I fought later, or one of them I fought later in the Navy in particular, I think that was on my mind and was involved. So he didn't get it directly for them, but I think he got it, Yeah.
Someone in the chat knew I went to Baruch College. I was like, I don't remember telling nobody that. They were like, was it mostly Asian? I was like, no, at the time I went, Baruch College was mixed, even though it was the business school of CUNY, heavily black. We had the spades. That's when I got my spades game. College is when you get your spades games up, to be honest. But there was CUNY was got to be like, at least the schools in Manhattan and in Brooklyn, 40, 50, 60% black and or folks of color kind of thing. So yeah, really, I didn't even know white people as quote unquote friends until later in college and maybe a couple in grad school and through organizing. Because just at the time, I was the lightest thing in the projects. There wasn't even no Puerto Ricans, no Latinos. You know what I mean? It was like
it was black and light black.
Yeah,
light black.
It was me and darker. You know what I'm saying? There might be a couple of kids lighter than me, but that was it. It was beige and dark. And I think in high school we had some Colombians and some Puerto Ricans, Weston House, downtown Brooklyn. But they were neighborhood cats, you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was some big difference. Everybody hung out with each other at that stage. In fact, the Colombian cat was still busy trying to prove that he was somehow related to Pablo Escobar and shit. He was bringing guns and shit to the school. That kind of not to do it, it was like show and tell. You know what I mean?
Show and tell in Brooklyn. Got it.
Yeah. But it was sort of, she wasn't like it was like show and tell. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've only had to punch 2 people for calling me a nigger.
Only 2.
Only 2.
Relative to where I grew up, I think that's a that's a pretty low number. But The one girl who called me a nigger in high school, she called me a nigger. Like the shit was so unconscious, like in her head. So when it came out, you could tell that she did not mean to say it, and then she immediately bust into tears. So it's like, well, how can you punch somebody who's already crying? But the other time I got called a nigga, again, Kamal talking about I ain't had no white friends until college. Nigga, these was white strangers who was calling me niggas, like people I did not know. This white woman who was drunk driving through Laurel hit my car and then took off. And then when I chased her, I got her to pull over. She stumbled out the car and she was like, "That's okay, you'll still be a nigga tomorrow." Okay, cool. Damn. Well, I'm gonna be a nigga tomorrow and you gonna have a busted lip. So have a nice night.
Damn.
Well, my sister down south.
Go ahead, Kim.
My sister, who's 5 years older than me, down south in high school in Charleston, South Carolina, she basically ripped out some white girl's hair for calling her a nigga.
Hey.
Yeah, my sister didn't play. Yeah.
Them's the breaks.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, the earliest one I got that I remember was a kid said, "You're a nigger, but not like the other niggers."
Oh, shit.
And that was meant to be a compliment. It was meant to be a compliment. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Anyway, but I didn't fight him. I think I was more stunned. We were really young too. Like it was one of those, like, I don't even, like it was like kind of like I don't know. I was like, I know that's not a compliment, but how mad am I supposed to be? Anyway. So
but then there's that.
I hadn't quite calibrated the anger yet.
I can only imagine the amount of racial slurs that I did encounter at younger ages that I have just forgotten or just blocked out. Right? Like those are the ones that I can recall. The ones that I can recall. I assume there was more, just by virtue of the white folks that I was in school with. But yeah.
Anyway, but speaking of getting called by your proper name, we do have our audiologist looking like he's on stage, the ear doctor back in the building. Good morning, sir.
Welcome back. Hey, I got called nigga twice when I was in Bantam football, Bantam League. Guy called me nigga because he seen I was talking to, he seen it. Well, it was another kid. He seen I was talking to early, like, and as soon as he got the ball, I just popped him. It was like, who a nigga now? And then down when I was in Alabama and I was walking through the mall and this big brolic looked like he was on some type of drugs, walked through the mall, me and my homeboy, and he's like, niggas. And we already got in a shootout at that mall. So we was like, listen, we ain't having no problems in here. We are just going to get in here and get up out of here. We weren't even supposed to be in the mall. But that's my two nigga stories. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get to a break.
I want to know why. I want to know the shootout story at the mall.
They say in German,
it was already a shootout. He said we already was in a shootout.
Right?
Yeah. It was on the news and everything. It was ridiculous.
That's like after we robbed the jewelry store and the bank, we stole a pack of gum. Come on, son, you telling the wrong part of the story.
Hey, yo, I figured something out real quick. I figured out why we are at war. The real reason.
Who's we? We who?
Well, real reason why there's a war going on. Y'all ready?
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Nobody seems to give love to this guy. No handshakes. Hey, guy. Nah. No.
Oh, I look bad.
Hey, everybody's friends here. How about me? Hey, buddy. How about look at come on, man. Now we see.
Can I say something real quick? If you go back and look at the video after King gives his the night before he's assassinated mountaintop speech, and when he turns around and walks back to the preacher standing behind him and starts shaking all their hands, he gives a Putin to Jesse Jackson. It's very visible. Oh, absolutely. Everybody's got their hand out, and Jesse's like this, and King is like, ah. Yeah, Steve Coakley used to break that down in slow motion on a regular as he blamed Jesse for being involved in King's assassination. But that part of the video was funny.
Hey, hurt people, man. You see what's going on. So let me go ahead and get to this.
I'm not mad at Putin.
So he's suffering from a lack of DAP because nobody will dap him up.
That's what it is. They won't accept him.
Hey,
all right, let's get to the break.
That's what we do. We break down the news here to read.
Yes.
What's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? Welcome out once again to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. In case you didn't know, now you do. Make sure while you're here partaking in this morning show that y'all hit that like button. It's right there at the bottom. Go ahead and hit it. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. So you can also hit that notification bell. Make sure you get all the shows that's coming up and coming your way. So y'all hear that funky groove right there? This is the pocket that Jared was talking about. So yeah, we know it's Women History Month. So I want to give some props to another sister. And you hear that funky groove right there? Who we gonna talk about? Betty Davis. That's right. So let me talk to you about Betty Davis. She was a wild one. When I think of Betty Davis, I think of a mixture of Erykah Badu and Macy Gray. Nice little mixture of that where they had some funkified stuff they was talking about. But Betty Gary Davis, she's a singer, songwriter, and model known for her controversial, sexy lyrics and her style of performance. She was also the second wife of Miles Davis. That's right. She's been around doing her thing for a minute. She also was dating Hugh McKayla. That's right. If I got that word right, I do. But she pretty much was born in North Carolina. She got into the music around 12. She wrote her first song, and then she went into modeling. And she went to the Fashion Institution of Technology, moved to New York. So she soaked up all that whole the village style and funk. She was also hanging out with two very known rock musicians, Jimi Hendrix and Sly Stone. They pretty much helped her get into the direction of the whole funk rock genre. So she got into that. Next thing you know, she started doing some more writing. She wrote Uptown to Harlem for the Chambers Brothers. After that, she got into more modeling because she was doing a thing. And then after the modeling, she got into making music. And when she was making this music, it wasn't picking up at first. But after a while, she started doing it. And actually had, let me see, she had 4 studio albums. She had a number of singles that came out. But as most of the time with this type of music, a lot of it blew up in the UK instead of America. So she did her thing. Like I said, she just made a transition and passed away from cancer in Pennsylvania. This just happened February 9th, 2022. So if you don't know, please make sure you check on her. She also dated musician Eric Clapton, but she was like, I'm not doing no music with you guys, so forget about it. She also influenced the title Bitches Brew for Miles Davis album, which brought forth and ushered the era of jazz fusion. So if it wasn't for Betty Davis, you might not have seen the funky side of Miles Davis. So big up to Betty Davis for doing your thing. Make sure y'all check out some more of her music. That's what it is right here on the Remix Morning Show. Yeah.
Right on. Absolutely.
There's a documentary on Betty Davis. I can't remember what channel it's on, but there's a good documentary about her that lays out her life, and they actually interviewed her a little bit before she passed because she kind of disappeared from the scene for a bit. But was that eclectic scene can never get that sort of breakthrough because they tried to pigeonhole her as sort of a Black woman into either R&B or soul or nothing, and she was a wide mixture of music she had. So yeah.
Would you say she was one of the most sexualized singers at that time?
At that, I didn't even know her at the time. I know her mostly from like later on and in the documentary and stuff like that. But from what they showed her performances, yeah, she was out there. She did it. She was doing her thing.
Yeah. Speaking of crushes, my first crush, you never believe, it was LaToya Jackson from Right On magazines. Yeah. Latoya Jackson.
This is prior to all the
everything.
everything.
But
I
yeah,
always
check
thought
out.
Reby was the better. I thought Reby. I know it's hard. Nobody remembers Reby, but I thought Reby was the best. I'm just going to do it.
The finest looking one.
Yeah, I always thought Reby just had a little something about
Man, you sleeping on Latoya before, you got to go back to the Word Up and Right On magazines to go check out Latoya back in the day. So
Reby had the great hit, Centipede. Nobody remember Centipede?
Oh, yeah. We ain't talking music, though.
No, I meant looks, too. I meant looks. Reby.
Ear Doctor, just one correction, that Betty Davis was married to Hugh Masekela.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm not exactly sure what you called Brother Masekela, but it wasn't by his propaganda.
You got Hugh right. I think you got Hugh right.
I said Hugh Masekela, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, it was. You definitely did not say Masekela. It was something else.
I purposely do that just so y'all could correct me.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Man, wow.
So,
in fact,
what? We got a Frozen.
Via my godfather, Tom Porter, we used Masekela's. I forgot even the name of the track now off the top of my head, but I'm screaming from down here. I'm screaming down here from below. That track was the theme song to my radio show for a while. That joint is hot. So shout out to Masekela. I got to get the name of that.
Just as a side note, how many goddamn times was what's his name married?
Miles Davis.
B. Was it like 6 times or something?
I don't.
Yeah, I was like, every time we bring up somebody now, it's like, oh, they had a relationship with Miles Davis or something.
But yo, check this out. So when Betty Davis was a model back in '66, Miles Davis was with dancer Frances Davis and was dating Cicely Tyson at the same time. And then later, he got with Betty and married her. Your boy was out and about.
He was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
anyway, but I do like the connection with Betty, Jimi Hendrix, and Miles, because I know that Miles had wanted to work with Jimmy in that whole dark, is it Magus or Magus album, was all about attempting to recreate what would have been. So, but I honestly didn't know much about Betty's involvement and all that. So this was very helpful. I appreciate you on that.
No doubt. Go check out that documentary too. So for some more information.
What channel? What's the platform?
I think I saw it on Prime. I think it's on Prime.
Yeah, on Prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll catch you on next break. Peace.
Right on.
Doctor. That was great.
Thank you, Ear Doctor. Hey, before we get to slapping the map, somebody did point out, I forgot actually who put that in the chat. Was it Manny Nile about Daruba's GoFundMe crossing 20 grand?
Hey,
shout out to everybody for helping out with that. It was a great scene. It was a great discussion he had with Professor James Small last night on Riot Starter with Kalanji. So definitely check that out. And we should
still give.
Come out
up it again. Still give. Yeah, this is only like day 3, so there's no reason for folks to not continue giving and for us not to continue trying to seek more resources for him. So yeah, please, if you haven't given, please give in. It was an arbitrary amount to begin with. It was just like, let me see what we think we can do, and I thought 15 was good, so we put it at 15, and we made that like in a day. And so so just come on through, give that money. That's to support that brother. Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to drop the link in the chat again.
Good stuff.
And, let's keep it going. Anyway, and I thought also we had meant, Ear Doctor and I meant this to bring this up the other day real quick in terms of appreciating supporters. Big shout out to our list here of patrons. BPM patrons, so big shout out to just all the good folks we see coming up on the screen here, and feel free to drop your name in there by going to patreon.com Black Power Media and help continue to help us grow.
You need help pronouncing these names?
Who's talking?
All right.
Oh, I think I think that was You know what that was? So when I had created this screen recording, I was apparently recording some I don't know, whatever I was watching, maybe that Pam Grier video. So anyway, that's what we were hearing in the background. So these are, you know, Kai, Jack, I can't even see the names. My bifocals are messed up. I'm straight up. I can't even see some of the names. But anyway,
it's lots of people.
It's lots of people.
I mean, I don't know why you got the font size at 11, but okay.
I don't know why either. Look, hey, I was just doing the best I could. I didn't realize I was going to be messing us up like this. So this is just the first attempt at the shout out. So, you know,
that could be the phone book for all the fuck I know, Jared. I don't know what that is. What is that? What's that supposed to be?
It was the fine print on your internet service agreement.
Exactly.
We get all your shit.
All of our patrons. Look at all of our patrons. This is the Andersons, the Adams. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, let's slap the map and get into some of these stories. All right, welcome back to the Remix Morning Show here at Black Power Media, and I feel like the kid on the Crumps in excitement, Kim, for the story that you were sharing. You know, HBCUs.
Well, I'm sure the good people at Morgan State University do not want you getting no ideas, Jared, because the good folks who are professors at Howard University have laid the gauntlet down to the university, and I'm not going to pretend to know all of the details, but there is a video. Good friend Burn It Down with Kim Brown, Chuck Modiano. I called Chuck part of the John Brown Brigade because Chuck be with the shits. And Chuck was Johnny on the spot, per usual, in DC at a rally yesterday, I believe, on the campus of Howard University, where the professors there said that if they don't have their demands met, they intend to strike by tomorrow. if I'm understanding the details properly, they intend to strike by Friday if demands are not met. So I think we can probably glean a little bit more from the video shot by Justice journalist Chuck Modiano.
Has made clear that a better working environment and a better learning environment is unimportant to them. We were scheduled to meet with the leadership again on March 18th, that's this Friday, but they have gone silent. We have been left with little choice. If the leadership of this university does not reach an agreement with us on March 18th, this Friday, then on Wednesday, March 23rd, on Thursday, March 24th, and on Friday, March 25th, the Adjuncts Union and the Lecturers Union, in alliance with SEIU Local 500, we will be holding an unfair labor practice strike. We are calling on our tenured and tenure-track colleagues to stand with us and honor our picket lines during the strike. We're calling on our students, alums, and all of the HU community to support us in our effort to overcome the unfair labor practices of university leadership and to better the university as a whole. We ask you to stand with us in solidarity. We seek to stand with you in solidarity. Like I said earlier, these have been individual fights for far too long, and we have not seen the movement any of us need. So now we all need to come together and get the movement that we require. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you go to Chuck Modiano's Twitter page, underneath that tweet, he has a very good thread of interviews, not only with some of the faculty, but also from some of the students who participated in the Blackburn takeover, if you remember, from fall of last year, where students camped out on the campus of Howard because they were protesting basically unlivable conditions within their dormitories. Our university is not having a great year. It's not having a good year this year, HU. So it will be really interesting to see what happens come Friday. So I would love to get the thoughts of the panel, but especially Professor Ball. Professor Ball, what are your thoughts about this? Just from based off what you just heard and what you've been able to glean from the demands of the professors.
No, I first of all, thanks. I'm very happy you brought this to my attention, and I'm very happy that Chuck is doing what he is often does, be on hand to cover these events and stories. So I'm not up on the details of what's going on there. I see there's in this one story that I've looked at this morning. It says, quote, the main concerns from the educators center on adequate pay, job stability, and appreciation for the work they do to teach Howard students every single day, end quote. But from what I have experienced, certainly at Morgan State, and understand about the broader situation of faculty in academia, and particularly Black faculty, whether they're HBCUs or PWIs, is that these issues resonate very much with me and seem to be representative of too much of what too much of what faculty and others experience. So at the core,
like for people who are not privy to the inner workings of academia, to some of the the barriers and challenges, like I don't fucking know. I don't know people who work in the
so
besides you.
From faculty perspective, I would say, the first thing that comes up, that always comes up, is that there is wild discrepancies in pay within the university, between administrators and faculty, within different faculty units, and within faculty within the same unit. And then, as we've even covered on my show a little bit this past year, there are multiple lawsuits, even at Morgan State right now, of women saying that they are in particular being discriminated against based on their gender, and in terms of pay, and other, actually some other, wild and woeful, sorrowful issues. But the debate, but again, all of the. But the other thing is that we're often, faculty at HBCUs are often saddled with 4 4s, which means we're teaching 4 courses every semester, which relative to universities, and particularly those with seniority and rank, is unheard of. That is an undue amount of work, preparation, students involved. So when that sentence that I just read says that the faculty are not properly appreciated for the support and work that they offer students every single day, that's very real. Beyond just the classroom, a lot of issues come up, and we are often the first point of contact. So we're constantly being emailed, having meetings, being asked for consult, et cetera, and so forth, for dealing with issues that have nothing to do with the immediate academic or educational experience, or one would think. So I understand all of that. And then we're paid less. We're just paid less. So when you even look at the publicly observable records of pay, you can see what these administrators and presidents are being paid vis-a-vis faculty. And then what he was saying there from the podium, the adjunct faculty. So just very quickly, you have full professors, you have associate professor, you have assistant professor, you have adjunct and lecturers, most of whom do not have tenure, do not have job protection, who are paid by the class, who are often looking to cobble together a full teaching load, teaching often at multiple universities to get themselves to 2 to 3 to sometimes 6 courses to get. I mean, there's which means you're anyway. So I do hope that the tenured faculty stand with them, although even tenure has been shown to not be the protective measure that it used to be. So I mean, there's I'm all that to say, I stand in solidarity with them. I can't imagine the risk that they're taking, the stress that they're under, and that's being added to, and what level they must have been pushed to take this step. The last thing I'll say, and which was really the very first thought I had, is that we in Maryland are prohibited as faculty from unionizing. Whatever the state's collective bargaining agreement arrangements are, prohibit faculty from doing that. And particularly those of us at Morgan State, we have no actual faculty senate or unionized authority, or so faculty are not in the protective strong positions that many assume and would hope, and that many should be, and that's also why we don't see faculty often taking the positions publicly that we would expect and hope that they would. So
is that codified into Maryland law? Because I remember interviewing once one of the members of the leadership of the Baltimore Teachers Union in Baltimore City, and he laid out some very wonky, bizarre things that prevent Baltimore City teachers from actually taking strike actions. It's actually illegal for them to do so. And I believed him when he told me, but I'm so incredulous when I hear it. So is what you're saying about Maryland college professors being not able to unionize, is that in Maryland law?
Absolutely. And I don't know the details and have them in front of me, but I from personal experience, checked into this, met with an attorney a couple of years ago and had this broken down to me when I was asking about what the responses could be. And it's also set up to be very difficult to develop any sort of what do they call it, class action, because the way the laws are written, for instance, for everybody would have to have had the exact same abusive experience from the exact same person for them to claim any sort of class action. So this is why everybody is forced in terms of in Maryland and university academic complaints, etc., forced to do this individually, whatever you know. And then the last thing I'll even say is that I learned from the EEOC here in Maryland that the conclusion after a long series of conversations and meetings, I was told to my face, I summarized it this way: if I am discriminated against based on my politics, even overtly, there is nothing legally that protects me in the same way I would be protected if that same abuse was done on the base of my sexuality, race, ethnicity, gender. So in other words, if people come to you and say, I have deemed you a socialist or a nationalist or a communist or a Pan-Africanist or an anti-Zionist, and I am therefore inhibiting your progress, overloading your work, undercutting your attempts to get merit pay, even if they said that explicitly, there is nothing to legally protect you as, but were they to say the same thing on the basis of those other categories, then you would be protected. So in other words, it is very difficult, even if you are abused within those categorized spaces, discriminated against, it is very difficult for faculty to address their concerns. And then I'll leave just one more thing, and then I'll really well stop. That some of these HBCUs, similar, for instance, Morgan State, have a relationship that is not quite part of the state system, that gives them, on the one hand, what would be hoped for, a relative autonomy to do things that we would hope would be done for Black people, but actually protects them from oversight, from whatever, should there be a series of complaints and concerns, etc., because they have there's really almost no chain of command to which you can go unless you have extreme, cause and relationships with the political establishment at the highest levels in the state. So it's a difficult situation. So I stand with them. I support them, and I want to learn more about what's happening. I thank you very much, and Chuck, for bringing this certainly to my attention. So
Thank you for explaining that, Jared, because I mean, I would not really have any other ideas about what academia, faculty face in the sort of barriers and hurdles. I mean, we've been sort of watching, obviously, the students protest at Howard for the Blackburn takeover about the conditions. And then in other ways, like, for example, in Columbia University, there was a massive strike there of the graduate student workers demanding better pay and pay comparable to, living and working in New York City, in which they were victorious. So I hope these Howard University professors and adjuncts are successful also. And thank you for sharing your experience, because it's hard out here for a prof. Not everybody knows how tough it is for a prof out here. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And anyway, I could. Yeah, there's a lot. The last thing I do think, like, I think of HBCUs as a microcosm of the struggles that Black people have in this country. And some of what we always deal with on this platform throughout all of our work and our extended relationships is that, yes, we are in a colonized relationship. We are in a hostile relationship, but there are ways that we could redistribute what resources we do have to better the situation, or to become just sort of a little bit of an umbrella, protecting against some of this capitalist white supremacist rainstorm, but and that's what's sometimes frustrating to see. So I can only imagine if you're at Howard and you're seeing some of the new hires, the celebrity hires, the salaries that are coming with it, and you're looking at from the president on down. I mean, there are some there's some money being made, and then you're looking up at your 4 and 5 course schedule and the 120 students you're having to deal with, and the lack of TAs, and the lack of grad assistants, and lack of research funding, and the relative lack of ability to take sabbaticals even. I mean, it starts to be, and then you're being told do more, and that you literally go to faculty meetings and are told to do more, and they will literally do that on the basis of you being at an HBCU having to do more for your people, and they use that, and then you're still like, but hold up, and then so anyway. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. I could. I think I've almost talked this to the next break, but so I apologize for that. But
all good.
Yeah, anyway.
Don't you have an HBCU story, Jaron? Also, yourself?
I do, in fact, and I saw this story, and maybe if we can start it now, and if we want, there is some video that we could get to. But essentially, the story is that in response to the recent, now I can't get the link to work for me. In response to the recent threats of violence on HBCU campuses, and I'm struggling with the link, so I'll have to come back to it. I'll just at least share that that Biden has passed a grant opportunity for HBCUs to get more federal funding for security measures on campuses. So, of course, in addition to some of what they say will involve counseling, et cetera, and, is more police on the campuses. And, look, I have never experienced as a student, or as certainly a Black woman, for instance, student on these campuses, where there are incidents and concerning incidents. Obviously, I don't know, what students are feeling well enough to speak from their perspective, but for my own, I'm a little hesitant at the idea that there's going to be more cops, more security, more police, because it feels like that's going to end up being turned against the student body and the staff, as opposed to this protection against an external threat. So
once they're there, they're going to need something to do, and they're going to turn their eyes, because they're not solving no big cases. So they're going to turn their eyes towards what you doing.
Don't y'all know Temple University tried to put me out for weed. I said, y'all need better shit to do with y'all time out here. But thankfully, the campus security guy was cool. I mean, he was cool to the point that he wasn't pressed. Let me put it that way. But that's what campus security does. Try to bust kids with weed in the dorm room. But there have been some instances, guys, help me out. I see Courtney, the SLP, in the chat. Courtney, in North Carolina, wasn't there an instance at a HBCU in North Carolina where the campus security actually murdered a student or killed a student. I apologize, I'm blanking on it right now. But more police is
that
never.
happened at Morgan.
Did it really?
That's the oh man, oh man, somebody definitely in the chat can help me here. I should remember this. The case that dag, I've even
Let's do our Google
recent or a few years ago?
No, this is some years ago, but I think it's his mother or sister who keeps the she's constantly been keeping the struggle going, and it was because Morgan State, if I remember correctly, Morgan State's police are not campus police, are actual police, so they're not like the so-called
wow.
They're not, yes.
They got real pigs on the campus. I mean,
they have absolutely. Oh yeah.
Temple same way. TU police had arrest powers. Like they could do.
Tyrone West. Thank you, Ricky. I knew somebody. Yeah, Tyrone West. He was killed by a Morgan State / cop. And this is she's been anyway, it's so yeah, absolutely, this is so I'm that was shoot, I had this is some years ago, but I had a staff member some years ago. We had a verbal exchange and dude bodied up on me in a hallway, and I made sure there was zero physical contact, backed away, kept my distance, and leave. 5 minutes later, cops are in my office because he had called them and said the reverse had happened, that I had threatened physical violence against him, and he felt endangered, and sent them to my office. And they show up, guns on their hip, cops coming to your door. And I'm sitting, and I was, so it didn't escalate from there, other than the stress of that happening. But it was quite a surreal moment. I've actually never had that happen, where somebody does something to me and then calls the cops and said I did it to them, and they show up asking me questions.
Oh, I've had that happen several times.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, that's deep. I had never experienced
that
one.
And it's always been whites involved. Whites were always involved.
Well, unfortunately, that was not the case here. It was.
You said this was a student, Jared, or another?
No, a staff member. A staff member. Yeah.
My ex-legal partner called the cops on me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got arrested off.
But.
Oh no.
Oh damn. Yeah. No, I didn't. I
didn't do it though.
Of course she didn't come out. Of course not. We know that. Yikesies.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm not more police, period. More police on campus. I mean, listen, I'm not sure what the status of Temple University is at present, but I can assure you in 1999, Temple was North Philly was very different. Let me just put it that way. North Philadelphia was very different around Temple University's campus than it is today. And at our orientation, the Temple police made it a point to let us know that they are, in fact, real police. If you would call them or call Philly police, it wouldn't really make a difference. But I did not apparently see no decrease in crime with there actually being police on campus. I mean, everybody in Philly knows this. Temple kids always play the robbery victim, right? Like kids get robbed up Temple campus left and fucking right. And I assure you, the police did very little to diminish those robberies, because that's sort of a standard known thing. But no, if I were a student, I would be opposed to that, and I am opposed to this, even not being a student. So.
This is a slightly divergent thing, but I remember Aget would tell me, my wife, when she went to Spelman, a few decades ago now, that they would always, when somebody else told me this was true about some other schools too, but they would always give them these warnings about not hanging out in the black neighborhoods. Spelman was located at the time in the black neighborhood, so it's been gentrified since. But they would always, like in their sort of like first semester in or whatever, they're doing their orientation, there's always don't go here and don't go there, and it always the places they told them not to go for the black neighborhoods or whatever. It's like, you're a black school in a black neighborhood. How are you going to tell them not to go there?
They used to tell us that in the Navy when we would go up to Boston or New York. They would literally have meetings and say, "Don't go to Roxbury, don't go to Harlem, don't go to." And again, that's just what was telling everybody, you know, Black in particular, where that's where we're going. That's okay. But yeah, that was interesting. We had little meetings. Just don't do that anyway. What they didn't do is say, if you're Black and you go to Boston, don't go to Faneuil Hall at night or whatever that place is called by yourselves. They didn't tell you that one, which caused a very interesting semi-movie type scene for me and my small little crew at one point. But anyway, speaking of small crew members.
Y'all just insist with these transitions, man. You could just say it's time.
Thank you, Kim. I mean, you usually on a roll there, Jared, but
every once in a while, I mean, my bad. I'm trying.
Hey, I know y'all heard of the term man-tan, right?
Yeah,
man-tanning from what was the movie?
Spike's movie?
Bamboozled.
Yes, so man-tanning is when, you know, Black guy shows off for the white. I come up with a new one.
He was an actual person, though.
Yeah, I come up with a new term. Man bleaching. Oh. Now, why do I say man bleaching? Only because of this video right here.
I'm the proof.
Oh yeah.
I'm the proof. Spitting on the mic. Center backs. Putin hates all of them blacks. Putin is a bad racist. Put them in the ground, white or brown. And I'm in plain old town. And you know you just got found. I'm a pimp on a blimp. Unless a steak is shrimp. No, you can't stop my shine. I'm number 99. And you know I grand and shine. And you know I do it on the grind.
But so that I don't know if you have the back. So that's the city council meeting, if I'm not mistaken, in Plano, Texas. And the hook basically is this dude, obviously doing his bad speaking of his white Black hip hop impression, is that basically we need to shoot Putin in the head, shoot Putin dead, shoot him in the head. That is like he comes back to that over and over again. So that's his rap around why we need to kill Putin in his Black hip hop.
Woo!
For 2 minutes, he does that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the break because I don't even think we got nothing to say after that. Speechless.
Remix Morning Show.
Yeah, man, bleaching right there. Yo, so I don't even know what to say, but check this out. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna do another artist spotlight. At this time, as you heard this funky little track going right here, I want to introduce you to the Dixie Cups. No, not the Dixie Chicks. We talk about the Dixie Cups. That's right. Let me give you a little education on this Dixie Cups crew. Now, they came out in the 1950s, 60s? Yeah, 1960s. They had this song, which was they sold over 1 million records with the song "Going to the Chapel and we're gonna get married." Yes, right, Chapel of Love. That is the song that put them on the map big time. This group is originally from Louisiana, New Orleans. That's right. So they came out of Louisiana, New Orleans. They pretty much was a group that started off first as you had three sisters. You had three sisters. Two of them were sisters. One was a cousin. You had Barbara Ann Hawkins, Rosalie Hawkins, and Joan Marie Johnson. You know that's country when they got the two names right there. But so pretty much they got their group together, and they was in 1963 they decided to go ahead and start being professional. They was first known as the Meltones, but they changed their name once they got a new manager, and he was like, yeah, we gotta get a better name than that. So they came up as the Dixie Chicks, and I said the Dixie Chicks, my bad, the Dixie Cups. And as you can see, the Chapel of Love is a real big song. It was in movies like Full Metal Jacket, Father of the Bride. I mean, every time there's some type of marriage in a movie, you'll hear this song right here. And in Rolling Stones, it was listed as one of the 500 greatest songs of all times. Also, what they did is they also got a award from New Orleans from the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. They honored them for being so big. A lot of things happened during the Hurricane Katrina. It came through New Orleans and flooded out the whole set. So they wound up moving to Florida. Joan Marie Johnson died in New Orleans from heart failure. Rosa Lee died from surgical complications. But yeah, that's they story, and they was doing their thing. Like I said, my favorite song has to be this Iko Aye. Yeah, so that is mad African. What they really got it is from another old New Orleans artist that did the song originally. They redid it. So yeah, check them out if you can. That's the Dixie Cups, and that's your throwback for the day, artist spotlight. All right, let's get back to the morning show.
My flag boy and your flag boy sitting by the fire. My flag boy to your flag boy, I'm gonna set your flag on fire. Talking about here now, here now.
Oh, that's them too? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to, if you didn't play that song, I was going to be like, oh, weren't they be one hit wonders with the Chapel of Love thing? Because everybody knows Chapel of Love. Yeah.
Yeah. Why your face like that, Jared?
Because Kamal always got some shady Brooklyn comment to make on
I was
we
enjoying
dragging him down after that beautiful tribute. He dragging him down into one hit. But you know,
I didn't know they had the second song.
But I didn't know. Actually, the first time I heard that song was when Rare Essence did it in '85 or whatever on the Capitol Center live show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Capitol Hill. But
in New York, we had I think it was CBS FM. I can't remember the call number. So they would play. I mean, this was like 25, 30 years ago now, but oldies used to be music from the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom would listen to it in the house. And so I became quite familiar with, Chapel of Love and all those the music from the 50s and 60s and shit. So
man, so many movies use those songs, all the Motown and different songs like that. I definitely hope they getting paid their royalties. I don't doubt it, but
You could probably assume they are not.
yeah.
And I too hope that they are getting what they are deserved and what they are owed. But
some slick manager got the copyrights to that, B.
You
The
already
record
know.
company ain't got it. Some slick manager got it.
Yeah. But can
They
I
did
say
at
something?
remember Sam Cooke's story? Part of Sam Cooke's story was that they like his manager stole literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and incorporated, all the stuff that we celebrate Sam for in terms of starting one of the first Black record companies and stuff. Like his manager tried to steal all that. He didn't find out till years later.
Hey, just recently, a new rap group known as Griselda. You got Conway the Machine. He just came out and said, listen, I didn't even read my record contract when it came out. I ain't make no money from the record label. And it's still going on. I mean, you need a thesaurus when you in there and a lawyer when you in there trying to read them contracts. But
You can hold the thesaurus. You definitely need a lawyer. Just bring the lawyer. Leave the thesaurus. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what it is, man. It's still going on, and 360 deals and all that stuff. So hopefully they get together. That's the throwback for Women's History Month for the day.
Ear Doctor, you're doing a really good job on Women's History Month. Can I please take a moment to highlight and shout out to the doctor here? You were knocking these out. I'm really enjoying these this month. So thank you.
Thank you. I can only do it with y'all help. If it wasn't for y'all bringing this great news, I wouldn't have the time to do the research and dig into the books.
We having a moment? Are we having a moment here?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
all right. Well, I'll catch y'all next break. Peace.
Play the white boy again at the city council.
Oh wow!
I didn't think that was real. I was
that was real. Yeah.
That's bananas.
I think he's some, and then he's got. I think at the very end too, he gives some website or social media. So I think he does this as a thing. And shit has like 3 to 5 million views, I think, online
Of
or whatever.
course
Minimum.
it
Yeah,
does.
minimum.
But here's my thing, Slim. Y'all got a whole terrible ass genre of music onto yourselves, white folks. Country music as a genre does not slap. There are individuals within country music who are talented and who are exceptional. But as a genre, country music is garbage. It is so fucking awful. So why didn't he put on some cowboy boots in Plano, Texas, put on his 10-gallon hat, take out his 10-string guitar and sing us a terrible country fucking song about shooting Putin in the head or whatever he was talking about? Like,
I mean, it
why you
sounds like
gotta keep bastardizing
Right.
black shit, Sim. You not cool.
rootin', tootin', shooting, Putin.
Exactly. Right to self,
When you
Jared.
look at white
Right to
comedy,
self.
half of white comedy, even today, is still impersonating or acting like or trying to be black. Like when they do their jokes, it's all like these days it's all like hip hop jokes, or they trying to act like they from the hood, or they're doing the voices. Like white, even if some Asian girl got into trouble, some Asian woman comedian got into trouble recently because she did she would do like black woman hood voice.
All of her roles.
Aquafina. Yeah, we talked about this when we broke down with Kim Brown. Yes, but now she's Nora. You understand? Like now that she had her foray into Hollywood by putting on her black scent, now she wants to be taken seriously as a real actress. So don't call me Aquafina anymore, because I'm not rapping that rapidy rap shit no more. I'm a thespian. I'm Nora.
Oh wow. I missed that change. Okay.
And then she said something like, didn't she say something like she would never do a somebody asked her about certain roles she would take. She would never do a stereotypical Asian role. That's beneath her. She wouldn't do that. Couldn't insult her people. I was like, but didn't you just 4 or 5 roles
after Crazy Rich Asians?
Yes. Minstrelsy.
So after you finish getting the bag, now well, I mean, all right, I mean, people can grow, right?
I guess, but let's call a thing a thing. I mean, let's not act like you was getting cast for being your regular Nora self. No, the only reason you got cast is because you know how to talk in the black accent, girl. You could go bok bitch and do all that dumb shit. Okay.
And the white casting directors are back to going like, that is hilarious. We love that. We cast her. She's a star.
Now, of course, the inverse. Can you imagine a black actress imitating Asian affect, whatever that is, and expecting to have a career? Right? You're just gonna go around mocking Asian people or what you perceive, the immigrant Asian people to talk or sound like, and you think you're going, no, doesn't work that way, huh? Funny how that works, y'all, isn't it?
Funny. Anyway,
hilarious.
So Kim, you had also shared another link for us.
I did because
this is a Jussie Smollett update.
There is a Jussie Smollett update. So, as you all know, Jussie Smollett last week was sentenced to I think he was sentenced total to 30 months of felony probation, with the first 150 days to be served in the Cook County Prison. And Jussie, demonstrably, as he was being led out the courtroom, was vociferously going over and over saying that I am not suicidal, right? And when I saw that, I was like, I can understand where this guy is coming from, because there are countless Black and brown people that end up dead in jail for reasons the sheriff don't know what the fuck happened, the jailers don't know what the fuck happened, and these niggas just ended up dead, right? All right, so we know that Jussie is he's a target of police. He is an out gay Black man, and they put him in jail for a nonviolent offense for a crime where really he only hurt himself, right? So the update is, let me back up. When he first got sent to jail, they put him on a psych hold. This is all according to his people that have been updating his situation on his Instagram page. His siblings, his family is very involved. I mean, I have to say, like, I appreciate to see family members rally around each other, and the Smolletts have absolutely done that. So they initially had Jussie in solitary on a psych hold with a note, according to his brother, that said that he was at risk for self-harm. And his family was very adamant that he is not at risk for self-harm. He is not suicidal. Like they were concerned for his safety. So long story short, he was released from the psych hold a couple of days ago, maybe 2 or 3 days ago. And now he has been released outright from jail. So the clip that we're about to see is posted on Jussie Smollett's Instagram page, and it is of one of his attorneys talking about the reason that they filed this appeal and why basically that they felt the judge's sentencing was punitive. It was unnecessary. There was no reason for him to go to jail for what he did, for what he was accused of doing. So let's take a listen from the attorney.
The First District Appellate Court in Illinois, in Chicago, just released an order ordering that Jussie Smollett should be released from jail immediately. Now, this appeal that we filed, the basis of our appeal was very simple. We told the appellate court that pending the appeal, Jussie ought to be released because, quite frankly, I'm going to put it in layman's terms and not legal talk. The case sucks. The case is bogus against him, and they released him. And that says a lot about what the appellate court thinks of this case. Now, we still have a long battle ahead of us. Everyone should please, please, please pray. We need the fight. We need the support we got. Everyone helped in this fight. All the calls of support, the video, the sharing on social media, everyone contributed to this big win today. So right now, we won round 2. We want to win the remaining rounds, and we need your help and support. But big thank you to everyone, and thank God Jussie is coming home tonight.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't need more people behind bars.
Right? We don't need more people behind bars. I'm down with that, but I don't really give a fuck about Jussie, whatever. Yeah. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this dude. This dude, what he did, he shouldn't have done. I agree with you, though. Like, the whole jail thing is all the money, the expense, but the fact that anybody's sort of wrapped up into like the fact that his lawyer thinks that this case is important enough that he needs to be doing Instagram videos and asking the multitude of people to spend their time giving him support. They say
support, but he's not asking for monetary support. Kamal, what the lawyer and the family were asking, they had posted the number to the Cook County Jail all over their social media accounts, and they were
No. I ain't calling no Cook County Jail for Jussie.
Not you. I'm talking his fans. No one said, Kamal, get on the phone.
Does he have fans left?
Well, that's where I was actually surprised at that. I mean, the video has 82,000 views. It showed there that Taraji P. Henson said praise God and supports him, and so that's big. That's big. And but I haven't been following it, so I haven't been paying attention. I'm definitely in mostly in Kamal's camp on this one, but I was not aware to the extent that public opinion, even among his fans or his audience, was this much in support of him. And again, I don't think anybody in this sense, him in particular, should be going to jail over any of this. But I am a little surprised at how much positive support he's getting, and I guess on some level that's a good thing if he's clearly in need of some. I don't want him to be. I wouldn't want it to be piled on to the point where he would consider self-harm or some sort of. But he does need some sort of help in a course adjustment, I would think.
I gotta say though, guys, like, so I was on where y'all are at. I was pretty convinced, that Jussie had done what he was accused of. And then I had to reset myself. And I'm like, wait a minute, who the fuck is doing the accusing here? The Chicago Police Department? Let's look at the record. Let the record reflect that the Chicago Police Department is a department that literally ain't shit. These motherfuckers have been framing people left and right for decades. They had black sites where they would take alleged suspects and beat confessions out of them, alleged confessions, and kill people, you know what I'm saying? And to no avail, they had the former mayor, Rahm Emanuel, covering up the murder of Laquan McDonald, Chicago police. So I had to reset myself because I'm like, wait a minute, let's consider the fucking source here. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, the shit looked bad for Jussie. It definitely looked bad.
What? Wait a minute, though. What has changed your mind? What has changed your mind?
What changed my mind?
I know. I mean, I agree with the cops thing. Right? I'm gonna give you the like check. So be suspicious of it. Be suspicious. Yeah. But what other facts on the ground has changed your mind to give a benefit of the doubt that the story that he was telling is more true than not, or potentially happened?
So it was a couple of things. So the prosecution said that, you know, that he wrote this check to these brothers, right? The Nigerian brothers who was trying to be Empire extras and or personally training Jussie on the side. But it's not like the check said in the notes for hoax, right? It was a check. He could have wrote them a check for any number of reasons, right? And don't get me wrong, like
and he said it was training, right?
That's what he said, right? That's what he said. Now they said that it was for the hoax, right? Which again, it could have been for the hoax. But let me also circle back to this. Even if he did the shit, right? Like, no, jail is not the answer here. Like, jail is not the remedy. Okay. So
no, we agree on that. We agree. But I also think he should be, because at this stage, I think it's a foregone conclusion individually that he did this shit. I mean, the story was suspicious to begin with. You know, the whole I'm out at 2 o'clock in the morning to get some Subways and shit. Like 5 degrees in Chicago. So that's, you know, white boys walking around with rope. I'm not saying that they may not, you know, but I'm just saying. But I think that someone who seemed, and I think it's, to me, connected to someone who has issues around fame and wanting to further a career and using a moment, because this was done within a moment in which there was Black folks in the streets fighting overtly around police killing, racism, and all the rest of it. And so for me, it's just like, you know, for someone to use this moment to aggrandize themselves, which again, to me, all evidence points to they did, it's hard. And even if I think that dude has mental problems or issues which needs to be resolved, I hope that he gets that. I hope he doesn't go to prison, but I hope he finds another career where he's not dependent on his life. He's not dependent on himself being famous in order to get some sense of self-worth and value. Because I think that's the dangerous road that he has walked, that has made that to the point of, again, based on what I've heard, concocting a story of white boys throwing nooses around him and so forth and so on. So that's my take on Juicy Jussie, whatever.
Fair. That's fair. Fair. It's fair. It's fair, man. Like,
I want him to go to jail.
I don't know. You guys, anyway, I watched the sentencing and I listened to the judge lay out all the reasons why he was putting him in jail. Basically, the judge believed that Jussie perjured himself in his testimony. He also, what did he say? He said there were aggravating factors that contributed to the judge wanting to recommend or impose a sentence of 150 days in jail. And it was had to do everything that the judge laid out had to do with premeditation. And he listed, you know, the check and the Nigerian brothers caught the cab or the Uber, you know, and several blocks away. And it's like, okay, that's exactly what the prosecution laid out. But again, it
was 30 days they supposed to serve, right? Like only 30 days in jail.
150 days.
No, but only 30 days in jail, I thought.
No, 30 months. 30 months felony probation with the first 150 days to be served in jail.
Yeah.
In Cook County Jail, where there have been a number of deaths behind bars from either suicides or the police don't know how people died.
I don't think that dude can take jail. Many of, you know, So and again, I agree with you. I think it's a relatively speaking victimless crime, except that, you know, in terms of taking advantage of a moment, that it was far more serious in doing what he did to it. So
there's also an unfortunate example of when Pan-Africanism goes wrong. That's another like another issue I have with this whole incident. Like, why is
Because
this?
of the help from the Nigerians?
Yeah, like this is our Pan-African exchange. This is how we working together for this. Anyway, that's so anyway.
Guys, I mean, if the police again, the police, I cannot overstate the police. I see y'all in the chat talk about I'm easily swayed. No, I checked the facts in the fucking history of this police department in this prosecuting office. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not act like. And then again, I know y'all gonna be like, well, Jussie ain't that nigga who got set up. Be that as it may, be that as it may, all aspersions must be cast upon the Chicago police. They are not credible. Like, they just aren't. And for Lori Lightfoot to get up there talking about, you know, he cost the city valuable resources. Oh, no, he did not. No, he did not. Chicago police had record amounts of overtime resources, in 2019, 2020. They sucked up the majority of the COVID bailout funds that the city got. I'm not using the correct term for the bill, but the amount of COVID money that Chicago received from the federal government, the Chicago police got the overwhelming majority of that shit. Like, the whole agency is not to be believed. That is who I doubt more than Jussie Smollett. I have more doubt and skepticism towards the Chicago police than I do Jussie Smollett. Let me just say that.
Well, they both can be liars, right? That's not
accurate. That is true. That is correct.
Let's not exclude that possibility. Yeah,
but one of them is a much bigger lie than the other. I assure you.
Well, speaking of institutions that do deserve to be believed at all times, we are to be rejoined by our institution, the Ear Doctor.
Let's go.
Back on stage.
I had so many bad segues I was going to throw in there. I'm glad you keep jumping in because I had so many bad ones.
Listen, you get the slow clap for that one right there, man.
I'm going to go, speaking of lying niggas, let's go to
always making up stories and words.
Brooklyn.
Yo, okay, time to do my last artist spotlight for the day. So let's go ahead and get to it right here, right now on the Remix Morning Show.
Is Brooklyn in the house?
Y'all like that, don't you?
Oh yeah.
All right. Funky right there. That make you want to get up and dance, have a good time. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and keep supporting the channel. Go ahead to Black Power Media and Patreon.com and go ahead and drop some change in the bucket for us. Also, like you said, big up to all the Patreon members, and make sure y'all come this Sunday to check me out. I'm doing a tribute to KRS-One. Reason why I'm really doing this tribute for my cousin. She just had a couple strokes, so she listens to music and she hears music and she reacts to it. So I was like, listen, let me go ahead and give you some musical healing. So we're gonna do that for her, and that's what it is. So join me this Sunday for Sundays. All right, now who we talking about? Let me bring this music back up in case y'all don't know. Are y'all ready for we talking about Women's History Month? Now let's talk about a sister that had to have a relationship in the music business and did it for years until death did them part. Let's talk about Ashford and Simpson. Can we do that? Let's talk about Valerie Simpson and Ashford. Well, Nicholas Ashford. Let me get that right. Both coming, well, Ashford came from South Carolina, Fairfield, big up to South Carolina, and Valerie came from the boogie down Bronx. So they pretty much, let me tell you real quick about them in case you don't know about them. They are one of the biggest production, you're talking about writing music for people and putting it together, arrangement and all that. They've worked with everybody. You're talking about Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Shaka Khan, Luther Vandross, Quincy Jones. I mean, they pretty much had two careers, as in writing and in their own, because they was doing this writing and then they came out with their own music, as you know, the song Solid as a Rock. Yeah, that joint right there is big. This duo got inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2002. They're also recipients of the Rhythm and Blues Foundation Pioneer Award, ASCAP Founders Award, and the Grammy Trustee Award. Rolling Stones ranked them number 19 on the list of 20 greatest duos of all time. You can't front on that because it's not a whole lot. But like I said, they wrote hit songs. They started writing back in the mid 1960s for Fifth Dimension. California Soul. Yeah, that joint right there. Aretha Franklin, Cry Like a Baby. Ray Charles, Let's Go Get Stoned. I mean, they went to Motown and started working with Berry Gordy and got with the whole Motown clique. They wrote the songs Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Your Precious Love, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, You're All I Need to Get By, which turned into a whole hip-hop song with Mary J. and Method. And we talking about also with Diana Ross, working with her on Surrender, The Boss, Ain't No Mountain High Enough when she did it. I mean, everybody, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Smokey Robinson, Martha Reeve and the Vandellas, everybody. They wrote Stephanie Mills, the Brothers Johnson, Teddy Pendergrass. I mean, it's not too many people that they didn't write music for. So big up to them. Also, what happened is they lived a nice long career, wrote for a lot of people. Ashford transitioned and passed back in New York 2011. He had throat cancer, and this was like 4 days before Valerie's 65th birthday. So Valerie Simpson released a solo album in 2012 called Dinosaurs Are Coming Back Again. And she had last recorded performance by Nina Simone on there and a duet with Roberta Flack. So, I mean, if you're writing for the best, they always going to come back and be like, listen, you need something, I got you. So that's what it is right there, man. Check out Ashford and Simpson. They have Grammy Awards, nominated for Grammy Awards. And like I said, they got some albums out, not just some albums. They got at least 10 albums. So check them out. Real dope crew. And that's what it is right here on the Remix Morning Show. And in case you didn't know, yes, sir, I have that Ashford and Simpson Send It right here. Boy, Valerie was a bad member. Shut your mouth. All right, let's get back to it.
All right. Yeah. I didn't know they wrote Let's Go Get Stoned, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, they did it. I mean, you talk about a writing crew. I mean, they wrote so much hits. They ain't even had to do no music. They just sat back and chilled, but they came out with their own. Solid as a Rock was the joint.
That's the jam, yeah.
Listen, Valerie Simpson's
Speaking
pen,
of Brooklyn, go say it again. I'm sorry, Kim.
I was saying Valerie Simpson's pen was unmatched. Unmatched. You know, Air Doctor, you had done a segment about Patrice Rushen. I definitely want to throw Valerie Simpson in there as an incredible Black woman singer, songwriter, and producer and musician, and who does not get enough props. So we talk about underrated. Valerie Simpson is underrated. We need to speak more about her. And Nick Ashford can go down, obviously singer, songwriter, musician as well. But the Wave Nouveau, one of the best Wave Nouveaux of all time. That curl that Nick Ashford had, he kept that curl in to the end. I think
it was laid. And you can see he was also in the New Jack City movie too. He played the corrupt preacher. Yeah,
oh, that's right.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I gotta say, you bring up one of my favorite songs of all time, the Method Man Mary J remix of All I Need. But I also have to say that my love for that song, I mean, which is deep, it has been tinged by this backstory. I don't know if you all remember when Drew Dixon came out with her story about Russell Simmons' abuse of her. But Drew Dixon was the A&R working for Def Jam who actually put that track together. It was her idea to remix that song, to put Method Man with Mary, to do all of that, and then was removed from the project when she if I remember the story correctly, was removed from the project when she resisted Russell Simmons or advances or did it was some sort of payback for her standing up to him or something to that effect, which is why I think he's still in Belize, is it, or Bali? Where is he? He's still Bali. He can't even come back in the country for fear of charges, if I'm not mistaken. That's his whole point. But so anyway, so just one more reason to just say fuck Russell Simmons and his impact on hip hop and the world. Just one more. Oh yeah. Yeah, fuck Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons he gets so much credit for building hip hop. He has done more to destroy and take credit for what others did. I mean, this is one of the most corrupt narratives in
Run DMC
or sub and leading to the
early that is. Do you know what Russell did after Run DMC?
We talking about the foundation of hip hop, one of the biggest hip hop labels to get it started.
Absolutely, that he and Rick Rubin did in exploiting artists and leading to the almost immediate downfall of capitalist intrusion and colonial takeover of the art. He is, so this is exactly told upside down. It is not a good thing that he brought them to Adidas, for instance. This is my quick summary statement. The man, I even read his biography years ago. The man, he idolizes white wealth in ways that are disturbing. And it is reflected in not only what he did to the artists, but what we have now come to learn about how he treated the women in the community. So this dude is a predator of all across whatever. I can't get it, across the board. So man, fuck Russell Simmons. Man.
Talk about messing up an Ashford and Simpson tribute.
I didn't mean to do that. I
was going to do it. I meant to mess it up because I was going to bring up, Solid as a Rock.
Yeah.
Back in Brooklyn, we changed the lyrics a little bit. I know everybody did. Right?
Oh no.
Solid as a
Oh no. Oh no.
I'll leave it alone at that.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
This is Kamau in his 50s. Imagine Kamau in his 20s.
Oh
Jesus Christ.
Nope. That's why he's not even in Brooklyn no more. He's like, get out of here. You too much for Brooklyn even.
Hey, I seen a comment in the comment section saying I should stick to music history instead of top 5. Just for that, I'll be back right next week to do a top 5 on the best hip hop love songs, and y'all already know all I need is on that list right there. So
tell them that, doctor, they ain't the boss of you.
Come on, man, you know I don't listen to nobody. And also, make sure y'all tune in to Sundays for that KRS-One joint. That's one of my favorite MCs, so y'all know I'm going.
Hey man, shout out to you for that too, man, and big ups to your sister too. Man.
Wait a minute, what's going to happen? KRS-One, I don't know.
Huh?
Kamau
tell a friend. I don't know.
Oh yeah, my cousin, she had a couple strokes.
Your cousin.
Well, 5 actually, and yeah, I went up there and checked on her, and then I started playing some Boogie Down production, and she had a big smile on her face, and then I was like, okay, let me go ahead and give her this medicine right here, because you only react to stuff you remember.
Yeah.
So I was
play the new joint, his new dance joint.
I don't know if that's getting played.
It's not stuff that
somebody played something that was not that bad. That was recent with KRS-One.
That's what I'm saying. He's still doing it.
He still is. Just not that one. Anyway, I catch y'all on the end of the show for a minute.
Peace.
Hey, thank you, Jared. Jared, can I tell you your stock went up? It went up. It wasn't down necessarily, but it went up. Thank you for laying into Russell Simmons that way. Woo! Tell the truth. Tell the truth and shame the devil.
I must be Bitcoin this morning.
Okay. It's been a good 2 hours.
It's been a good 2 hours. Yeah, there be not. Yeah, now the pressure's on.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, do we have stories? Any more stories?
I have one that I would like to just share very quickly, if possible, because just something it turned into a rabbit hole this morning for me, and I'm not clear on all of the details underneath it all. But again, my good folks at Wall Street on Parade, and this story, the fog of war is providing a smokescreen for trading losses at a dangerously unreformed Wall Street. There's going to be on March 30th a hearing titled "Oversight of America's Stock Exchanges Examining Their Role in Our Economy." And the short of the story here is that they say it's too little, too late. That this is already a corrupt and rigged system. And for those of us who would think that we have already, known that it is rigged, their specific detailing of how it is rigged was what the rabbit hole I went down. And I do not pretend to understand the details. But the short of it is that a combination of the dominant stock exchanges, the big Wall Street banks, and high frequency traders have created a rigged system where essentially computers at very high speed, with high speed algorithmic and plugged in, transition speeds, are creating automated buying and selling of stocks at the when seen as the best time and to do so, undercutting what normal human beings would be able to do on their own, creating vast amounts of wealth to the tune in terms of one fund here. Saying that JP Morgan was ripping them off at about $300 million a year just on this operation alone. And there was I forgot the name of it, but there's a movie, the dude that played Mark Zuckerberg in social media, right? Whatever that actor's name is, Jesse something, right? Anyway, whatever. He played, I've seen a movie he did where he's actually playing, there's some lesser known movie he was in that actually gets into some of this detail, that is where people with vast amounts of wealth are competing for the computer technology and the interconnected speed rates that would allow for them to outdo their competitors and the rest of us by default in creating these trades and investments. And then they can, and the way they explained it in that article is they can predict when people are going to want to invest in something, get in there, buy it up faster and first, and then sell it back or sell it again to those same people at a higher rate. And in that millisecond of a moment, are able to create ultimately billions and billions of dollars for themselves. So on top of the already rigged nature of capitalism in the stock exchanges and Wall Street, which they say have almost nothing to do with the actual economy anymore, they're not, it's just a symbolic shell game and hustle, even more than I would have thought. Beyond all that, it's just a rigged system all the way up and down. And I don't know. So it was just a fascinating, just one more reason why I think we need political power and to start controlling the outcomes of all of this as a first step. That if there's going to be wealth created, it's going to get redistributed. I don't care who's doing it and how it's getting done. I'm very Frank White on this issue. If a nickel bag is getting sold in the park, I want a cut. That's how the people need to have it. And I don't know. Anyway, because when you get into the weeds of all of this, it is just shade on top of shade on top of shade. Anyway.
So basically, Jared, you're saying that JP Morgan and these big financial houses have the technology to do the thing that you described, which I don't know if I can recount it back.
It's just simply creating connections, computer fast connections that allow, and it literally, in terms of literally building, networks and putting their networks closer to the stock exchange. Like there's actual battles to get as close as you can physically to the building, so that you can beat a competitor to getting a trade in. And that's
what the story is about, that this technology exists, and that the most, moneyed, financial houses are doing this.
Absolutely.
But when the individual traders tried to do this on Robinhood with GameStop, they pulled the plug. They said, "Nope, y'all can't play this game no more. we got to start the game over and hit reset and shake it up, blow in the cartridge and put it back in."
And even and according to Wall Street on Parade, even that story was often misunderstood, because behind all of that were even bigger hedge funds. It wasn't the small guy creating all of that. It was actually the bigger hedge funds using the retail investors to undercut the bigger hedge funds competitors. It's like the rich people are playing games with each other, and they're using us and everyone else as suckers. I mean, that's all it really is. And then they drape the symbolism of America, democracy, free trade, and I'm smart because I'm Warren Buffett and I'm reading and I can tell all the thises and the that's, and I know the stock market and can read people. And like they praise themselves and these people as these geniuses, and ultimately, at least a lot of it is, I just have a faster computer that does the work for me. It's not even, it's automated algorithm. The computers have taken over is the underlying part of the story. It's like, it's not even being driven by humans at this point.
So I got a faster computer. It's, I know I got insider knowledge, and I'm playing with other people's money because it's your pension, your retirement funds, your bank accounts, all that kind of stuff. Is what's being used for a vast amount of trading, right? It's not somebody risking their individual funds. These institutions are risking your money, right? In hopes that, of course, there's just never going to be a run on the bank, and there's some insurance, and so that money is always going to be sitting there for them to use at will. And these days, you don't even get any interest in your money in the bank anymore. So it's doubly, you just putting your money in some institution just to not put it in your mattress, because there's no incentive, there's no savings interest anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff on top of stuff, right?
And if you look at Larry Fink and BlackRock's Aladdin apparatus, that's like the epitome of this technology that again, in an automated, algorithmic, whatever way, does all of this investing and allows him and BlackRock to manage, because people buy in, they pay him and give him their money, all of the biggest, again, Alphabet, Amazon, all, whoever, because they know when they get access through enormous fees and investment to that Aladdin platform, their money gets automatically put all over the world into everything at the most opportune moment in time, which allows BlackRock to ultimately control. I think it's almost almost as much as it's somewhere around US GDP, $20 trillion. Like 10 of it is just BlackRock's, but all these people put their money onto his platform, and so one company is controlling almost everything in the world using this Aladdin platform. And Larry isn't sitting there reading the numbers, doing it. I mean, it's just a computer. And, and then they tell us, no, get your financial literacy right, get your investments in, diversify your portfolio, start a small business. And you too, it's fucking nuts. Excuse me.
Scam on scams.
Scam on scam. That's it. Anyway, I see you you got a story for us in the
put
chat
a story in here. Yes, yes. Just a reminder that, fascism. Don't cry about Trump bringing fascism, baby. Fascism been here. Fascism been posted up and chilling. So I talked about this story a couple weeks ago. Oh, shout out to Jackie Luke, mom. Where is ma chère Jacqueline? Somebody call Jackie, tell her to come on here.
I actually did. We spoke last night. Actually, just Jackie is busy saving the universe. She is, I think, the legit, for real Captain Marvel. Again, I said it in the chat in Kalanji's things last night. Like, we don't need these comic books. Daruba is a real live superhero. Jackie is easily Captain Marvel, going from one universe to the next. Saving everybody, and we don't even know how much of us have been saved, by her work. So she is just very busy, and also trying to balance all the pulls and ties and tugs on her life. But she'll be back around and is out there doing good work with BAP and Sputnik. And so anyway, shout out to Jackie.
Yes.
Sure.
Support by any means necessary radio as well, everybody.
Indeed.
So, Metropolitan Police, which is what DC Police is, have had a time. Let's just say they've had a time. You know, that they've had a number of fucked up shootings. And unfortunately, I'm gonna misremember the victims' names, but the one gentleman who had fell asleep in his car was awakened by police. They shot him several times, like 10 seconds after he woke up. Another young man who was riding an e-scooter along Georgia Avenue got chased by police to the extent that he ended up in an accident, and he also died. In addition to DC police being sued by members of their own department, Black women are alleging deep sexual harassment, sexual, misconduct on the job. And this is just the latest. Oh, by the way, the DC Forensics Lab lost its accreditation. So again, I don't even understand how the fuck they are actually even convicting anybody on any sort of forensic evidence right now when their crime lab lost its accreditation. But, that doesn't make the news all the time. So here we go. This was this week. So a couple of weeks ago, a local attorney filed a lawsuit against Metropolitan Police alleging that the previous police chief, Peter Newsham, who left DC to go become the chief of police in Prince William County, Virginia, she alleged that Newsham was keeping a list of attorneys, media people, advocates, people in the community who were submitting Freedom of Information Act requests to the department for information. These niggas are supposed to provide the public. So the headline, this is from the DC, is DC says alleged police watch list of critics had little impact and asked judge to dismiss the lawsuit. Now, who is making this argument? Attorneys for DC saying that even if Metropolitan Police Department maintained a, quote, watch list of critics whose requests for public records were funneled up to the department's top leaders, such a list had little impact on the outcome of those requests and was only used to keep those leaders in the loop. In fact, the city's arguments were laid out in a court filing on Friday where Attorney General Karl Racine asked a federal judge to dismiss an explosive lawsuit filed last month in which a defense attorney alleged that the watch list included reporters, lawyers, advocates, and critics whose requests for public records under the Freedom of Information Act were improperly delayed or denied because they could embarrass the police department. The lawsuit says the creation and the maintenance of this watch list was an unofficial policy under former police chief Peter Newsham, and that a former police chief turned whistleblower testified to seeing it in action. Now, this is the attorney who filed the lawsuit. Amy Phillips, the defense attorney who filed the lawsuit, told the DCist and WAMU that such a watch list would mean that Metropolitan Police was impermissibly and unconstitutionally playing favorites. Quote, people who are friendly with the police department are getting access to information that they can use to advocate their interests, while people that MPD perceives as being unfriendly to them don't have access to that information that they would need in order to make a case for reforms that we think are necessary, she said. But Karl Racine, in his response, went on to say that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that Racine went on to say that this list it's not nefarious, but he went on to say that it's basically not illegal for police to maintain such a watch list. And this seems very troubling, a little problematic, that the police are maintaining lists of people, and not to say that they haven't been doing this or this is not literally a decades-long policy. I assume that it is, just because police are very fascist and Nazi-like in the way that they engage themselves, and the way that they also try to deflate those who oppose them or those who even question them by doing such things like this, like denying access to public information and public records. Because basically, how else do we know what the police are doing unless they tell us, right? How are we supposed to know in which areas the most arrests are being made, where there's more officer-involved shootings? And I hate to say even officer-involved shootings, that is also a fucking crutch of the media. where police shoot people and kill people. This is critical information, but oftentimes the police themselves are the lone holders of this information. So for them to be maintaining a list and saying, hey, Kim put in a FOIA request, but kick that shit to the bottom. Let's advance the FOIA request of what's one of the conservative outlets in DC, the Blaze or the Washington Examiner. You know what I mean? Like whatever they want, we'll get it to them since they're friendly to the police. But those who the police consider adversarial, the Post. Oh my God, the Washington Post. You mean the Bezos Post? That's what the fuck I call it.
Right. That's it.
So there's that. Welcome to fascism under democratic rule.
Speaking of fascism, no, just quickly, speaking of fascism and Bezos, Maryland Amazon workers walked out as well. So shout out to Howard University faculty. Shout out to Maryland Amazon warehouse workers.
Where'd they walk out? Is it statewide, or was a particular facility?
Roughly 60 workers across New York and Maryland are demanding a $3 raise. Let's see, about 60 Amazon workers staged a walkout on Wednesday to New York and Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Okay, PG.
Warehouses in Queens, New York, and Upper Marlboro. Yep, PG County, the richest Black county in the. Yeah, so shout out to them. Shout out to the Howard University faculty. Everybody walking out striking. I tend to generally agree that we do need a general strike, just across the board. So these are all good signs,
And just connecting the two stories, those strikers will be on a police watch list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen. History shows that, I'm forgetting the names of the different categories that they had, but, the national list of people to round up during times of national emergency have always been well established in terms of in the FBI hands. And they had two lists of folks that they would round up. And local police have also, like you said, for decades taken that on as something that they also do is to keep watch lists, to do false investigations. This is not as overtly political, but again, a decade or so ago, we had this thing called the hip hop police. That was in scope, not just New York, but Florida and several other places where, again, they would watch artists, right, hip hop artists, not because they had done something, but because they rapped about certain things. And then they said they were connecting them to gangs and all that kind of stuff, but all in the intent of potentially rounding folks up when they felt it was necessary. And lastly, the stop and frisk that happens historically in different places is all about getting data on people and putting them in large databases right there. So it's not even important to them whether or not they make a charge stick. What's important to them is that they're able to get your name and some of your information, start making a file, and they have that information ready for at some point if they want to go back to it. So these mass databases of information on people, not just by corporations, but by police authorities, is also something that's taking place now, always under the guise of list making and watching and obviously for the public consumption of it, it's supposedly something to do with crime, right? So.
But what's funny was that initially they were denying the existence of the list, right? They were like, "What list? We don't have no list. What are you talking about?" Now it's like, "Oh, we have the list, but it's harmless. It's harmless. don't worry about this little pesky list." How many lists you guys think that you were on? I'm guessing I'm probably on a couple.
So, just in my own family on both sides, both Black and the Jews, when my mother's brother was grabbed up for his labor union work in the 50s and got that standard stereotypical FBI treatment. And in the process, I remember they showed him a petition that his mother, my grandmother, had signed at a protest in support of communism in the 1920s. They had something so that they had been under some sort of surveillance for communist and labor work going back even before the FBI was the FBI. And then just a couple of years ago, some researchers on the history of Congress of Racial Equality sent me some documents showing how my father, who was in Corps in Cincinnati, and then joined SNCC when Roy Innis made that famous rightward, took that rightward direction. And they sent me documents showing that my father had been under surveillance from the FBI, Secret Service. Like there was a whole list of agencies that were, and in the documents they showed him doing Black radical communicative journalism workshops. So I was like, it was kind of surreal to see that. So I just assume that, and then never mind, my brother and sister, and they're being high-ranking members in the Nation of Islam at a time and over the years. I mean, so I just feel like all of us are, and then I hang out with people like Kamau and Kalanji and Kim Brown, and I mean, so I just am assuming. I just assume
generational. I'm impressed at the generational, the lineage of documentation of Jared and his ancestors, his relatives.
I'm impressed by their documentation of it. Like I'm impressed they got all that. That's how we learned about it. I'm like, damn, like that's meticulous. Your mother signed this in 1921 at a rally. It's like, damn, that's like, all right.
And who had that, Jared? You said the OSS had that, not even the FBI, the OSS.
It wasn't
right?
even, it was like, because it was, what is it? That's, the precursor to whatever Hoover was doing before they got the official label.
Oh, no,
right?
the OSS is the CIA
predecessor.
Right?
Yeah.
But there is an FBI precursor. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, whatever, and it was still Hoover, right? Because was the FBI, was Hoover, 27 or something like that, somewhere.
Yeah.
When it,
remember, like the first COINTELPRO action that is obviously against Garvey with the mail fraud charge, right?
That's
and
right.
That was pre-FBI. So I have no idea if I have any file. I make some assumptions just because of affiliations and organizations and visits to political prisoners, trips to Cuba. So I assume there's something, but I've never done a Freedom of Information Act. We should probably do one.
Allegedly, the feds will tell you at least about people who are deceased for sure. Like if they're, you have a parent, grandparent, whatever, family member, someone else. Allegedly, they will. If you have their social security number, you can submit a request, and they can give you, I guess, the unredacted portions of their file. But I think you can even request your own.
You can do a Freedom of Information Act and request your on file from the federal government. Now, whether or not it's going to be redacted or pages are going to be missing, but part of what came out of the exposure of COINTELPRO was some, again, liberal changes to how they did their investigations or what was documented or what could be revealed. And that was one of the things. So it doesn't, as much as they say, they changed a lot of things, but as we know, they changed names, but keep the same tactics and strategies and stuff. So
just quickly, yes, my father, they were my half brother and sister. I've come accustomed to calling them my brother and sister. So, but specifically my half brother and sister, my late sister, rest in peace, was a high-ranking member in the nation, and my brother was for a time even the national spokesman. So shout out to Jamil Muhammad, still out there doing good work. And and no, I'm not responsible for the Wesley Muhammad interview. Kalanji is on his own thing with the riot starter, and he has his own connections. I don't know Dr. Wesley Muhammad, so. But I think it's good. I'm glad he came on, and I look forward to him having his discussion with Kondo. Sorry, Kim. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I know that we got over 200 viewers today, and I know it's 9:59, and I know Doctor better not get up out of here without giving us our GD mix out this month.
Come on now, you know what it is. I'm ready to go. Let's do it up for the ladies. Make sure y'all tune in. We got a bunch of shows. We got I Mix What I Like in the morning, 8 a.m. So check that out. Check out Kim Brown burning it down, and check out all the shows. Hit the notification bell and go check everybody out. Let's get it.
Boop, boop, boop.
Just for the
Peace,
lady.
everybody.
Hey.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
My mellow latte was kicking flavors. The Ari Bossy said, yo, Latifa, we can do this. So I walked into the thought, then my brilliance I caught, and I agreed, cause I already knew this. Now you should wanna flex, cause I'm in full effect. I rock rough and stuff with my Afro punks. I rock rough and stuff with my Afro punks. I rock all with my ass off, cause it's the must. It's the lady of rage still kicking up dust. So let me loosen up my bra strap. And let me boost you with my raw rap. Cause I'ma break it down to the nitty gritty one time. When it comes to the mix, I get busy with mine. Busy as a leader, you best believe her. This brand new is funny for me and my cha-cha-cha to the smarty rock. I'm the dopest female that you've heard thus far. And I do get better, the voice gets wetter. Nobody gets hurt
as long as you let her.
Do my thing with an 89 swing. The dopeness, alright, I guarantee delight. Until the hip-hop maniac, the uptown brainiac in full effect, MC Light is back.
We out of here, y'all. Catch y'all in the morning. Peace.